Every now and then I get these messages that all the way to church, I'm praying, saying, God, help me to make clear this message in the minds of people, because regardless of what your skills are, your oratorial skills are, if people don't understand what you're saying, all your effort is meaningless. You know, and I got one of those kind of messages that just it's like, yeah. You know, when the subject came to me last night, it was like, I like this. And I hope I can do something with it. What I want to talk to you about today is this subject. Emotionally attached to your imagination. Does that make sense? Yeah. Emotionally attached to your imagination. I came up with this subject, brothers and sisters, because I look at what's happening in the movement, how it is growing, how so many lives are being touched everywhere I go, testimonies I get from people. And I also, along with testimonies of how lives are being changed, I also get this along with it. Oh, well, you can cut that air conditioner off now, brother. It's working. Yeah, it's working good. Thank you, brother. But I also get from people, when they share their testimony with me, words like, if I could only get my wife to understand what I'm saying. If I could only get my mother to grab what I'm saying. You know, my family thinks I've lost my mind. You know, my loved ones, my friends, you know, they say, what's wrong with you? Are you gone crazy? You know, that kind of thing. When people are trying to share what they learned in African consciousness with other people, it seems like the masses have absolutely no desire to hear anything that would contradict or oppose what they think they know. You got all of this excitement that you want to share with other people, and as soon as you start sharing it, I want to hear that, I want to hear that, I want to hear it. I want to hear that. God, can anybody relate to what I'm talking about? What has baffled me, now I want to take my time and try to make this clear to you. What has baffled me is how so many people reject sound, factual, and undeniable evidence that's presented to them. They just reject it. I've noticed how our people reject what even they have to admit is fact. I remember certain experiences where I've shared information with certain ministers and loved ones, and when they look at it, especially when they look through their bifocals, like that, and say, yeah, well, and this is what they say. I see what you're saying. You understand what I'm saying? They actually look at it and say, you know, yeah, I see that. It's there. It's there now. I can't deny it ain't there. And they still reject the facts that's right in front of them. And they hold on to what they have become emotionally attached to. Because it's just hard. It's just hard to detach themselves from what they, check this out now, from what they have come to believe. Not from what they know, but what they have come to believe. I'm sure, brothers and sisters, that many of you sitting here, many of you who are watching this, listening to this, I'm sure that many of you were exposed in one way or another at some point or another to certain perspectives about God. If it was from the Christian perspective, it was Jesus. If it was from the Islamic perspective, it was Allah. And of course, Allah's representative, or last prophet, was supposedly Muhammad. If it was from a Jewish perspective or Hebraic perspective, what you were exposed to was that Moses was God's messenger and God's prophet. Or if it was a Hindu perspective, what you were exposed to was Krishna was God's messenger. If it was a Buddhist perspective, you were taught that Buddha was God's messenger. All of these doggone perspectives, we've all been exposed to somewhere in there. And most of us, if we would just be honest, have to say that our parents and our grandparents were good. Here's the phrase that I love most: God-fearing people. You know your parents were good God-fearing people. Your grandparents were good God-fearing people. And they raised us. They raised us to love God. They raised us to honor God. They raised us to respect God. They raised us to fear God, to worship God, to obey God, to submit to God, and most of all, to praise God. That's how they raised us. But now here's the problem. Being that we have never seen God. Y'all follow me here? We were raised to love Him, adore Him, worship Him, honor Him, look up to Him. But the problem is we've never seen Him. So being that we've never seen God, guess what, y'all? Our imagination of God was shaped by literature. Our imagination of God was shaped by culture. Our imagination of God was shaped by somebody's opinion.
Yes, sir.
Our imagination of God was shaped by a religion. Our imagination of God was shaped by somebody's experiences. All of this was put into our heads because we've never seen God.
That's correct.
Am I making sense here? So, brothers and sisters, within the parameters of our imagination, we were trained, not educated, we were trained to think that God was in the masculine perspective.
That's correct. Beautiful.
Yeah. We don't imagine God in the feminine perspective. We don't do that. And the reason why is because all of the literature refers to God as He. This is because we always refer to God in the masculine vernacular. In Genesis 1, 27, 28, you guys are right quick. Genesis, the first chapter, verse 27, 28. When you get, I'm going to prove my point to you. Let's read one of the first references of God in the Bible. What does it say?
So God created man.
So God created man.